style coming from Brewery Vivant in Grand Rapids. It is big, it is viscous, it is dark, and it is malty, and all the while it's got this really great. It's not horribly prominent, but it's got a great Belgian funk along the bottom. It's got some booze in it too. I believe it's somewhere around 9-10% alcohol.
Yeah, I've had this beer before. It's a really nice beer. It's interesting. I haven't had too many Belgian stouts. But it's also at the same time it doesn't have too much funk that it makes it like overpowering. It's still for a bigger beer. It's still pretty smooth ride.
Kind of deceptive in that way. Man, is it good.
Next up is number 12. It's Arbor Brewing Company's Flamboyant Wild Red Ale, and I've had this one before. I had it at like a rare beer dinner, and this beer is excellent. It's a sour, and it is a sour, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
it's a sour. And if you didn't look at the label, you think it is made from Jolly Pumpkin. But it's label. It's a very delicious beer, and what you'd really expect out of a really good sour.
Absolutely. Arbor does some great wild stuff and some great Belgian beers as well. Their Fat Abbot series is great. But the Flamboyant Red particularly stands out to me. It's kind of there's a lot of different aspects that go into pulling off a really great sour ale. And probably one of the most prominent ones is just paying attention to what's going on with the beer. Close attention and cellaring and letting that beer mature and getting it just to the right point where it's not too much, it's not too far, and you stop it and you bottle it. And that Flamboyant Wild Red it's fantastic for those of you who are sour fans.
And next up, number 11 is Arcadia Brewing Company's Serial Killer Barley Wine. I've had this beer a ton, and it's probably one of my favorite beers out there. I love barley wines. It's boozy, it's malty, it's a smooth ride, and it's probably my one of my favorite Michigan barley wine.
It's just absolutely massive. It's a beast, but wonderfully balanced as well. I'm just sort of going to get talking about this here in a minute, but this ability to balance these extreme flavors is for me one of the most important things about the art of beer making is taking all of these really extreme, really intense flavors and managing to sort of put them into a harmonious, delicious presentation, even though the flavors are just so extreme. And Serial Killer Barley Wine is a great example of that. But having said that, that is the main idea that I'm keeping in mind as we're sort of moving along to the top 10 of my beers in Michigan, is this idea of managing extreme flavors and turning them into a beautiful presentation. As I said, that's one of the most important things for me in terms of assessing beer. It shows me, that the brewer keeps all of these very delicate angles in mind and manages to coax these beautiful flavors out of these very extreme flavor presentations and turning them into a beautiful display. So keeping that in mind, we're going to move on to the top 10 list, and we'll go ahead and we'll start with number 10.
Yeah, number 10 is Bell's Brewery Expedition Stout. I've had this a few times. It's a great beer. Obviously not probably an everyday beer. It's a big stout.
Yeah.
And probably one of the more recognizable imperial stouts out there.
It's Expedition has been one of my favorites for years, and I also feel like it's kind of one of those brands that just kind of gets lost, because Bell's makes so many great beers, that people are talking about and people are buzzing about, and and even at that, I'm not even going to go there right now. Sorry, I almost went on a side tangent. But Expedition Stout is just great. Big, nasty American Imperial Stout. It's got a bunch of great flavors that are just wonderfully balanced into a great presentation. It's malty, it's roasty, it's alcoholic. It's got all of those great flavors that we're looking for in a bold American Imperial Stout, and just corrals them into this sort of beautiful presentation.
And next up is Grand Rapids Brewing Company Philanthropist Barley Wine. I haven't had this one personally, so tell me a little bit about it.
Sure thing. GRBC, they've been open for a little while now. So it's great, and they've been doing a bunch of specialty releases, and this was actually an anniversary ale that just came out a couple months ago as their 1-year anniversary celebratory beer, and it's a barley wine. And their specialties have been great coming out of GRBC, but the Philanthropist was just another level. The Philanthropist was absolutely delicious. It was huge, it was malty, it was hoppy, but it was all just blended into this wonderful presentation of flavor. And Philanthropist definitely was a fantastic tasting experience, and that is why it earned my number 9 spot.
Ooh, number 9, I love it. You guys are doing great. You know what? We have time to finish up the top 10. Live on the air. You want to go do that?
Sure.
We'll take a quick little break from taping here. You'll listen to the Going Gonzo show. We'll be back with more with Paul and Ben as they run down the top 25 Michigan beers.